It's an undead.
It's a very simple ethos that drives Dark Souls 2, and it's one that will serve you just as well in real life. No matter what lies before you, you must keep moving forward. This entry in the Souls series has some changes though. The first and most apparent one is that there's a coherent story. It may still be bare bones and mostly informed by the individual's imagination, but there's a solid framework here. You are a cursed undead, bearer of the dark sign and destined to die over and over until the last vestiges of your humanity are finally gone and you become hollow. To stave this off, you make the pilgrimage to a land where the souls of the slain can preserve your sanity. To facilitate the more involved story, Dark Souls 2 presents a more populated world, which is not to say it's any more friendly. The biggest difference is that from the outset, you feel a part of something. You don't feel like an interloper. People talk to you with some level of respect. There are 8 classes to choose from, representing the usual spectrum of RPG mainstays, from the melee heavy swordsman or knight through to the miracle slinging cleric and the sorcerer. The reduced number of classes allows a greater focus with less generalization and a better opportunity to create a specialist. As is now expected, Dark Souls 2 explains next to nothing about its world or what you're supposed to be doing. It doesn't take long to realise that nearly everything in the world wants to kill you, and the combat is balanced in such a way that even the vanilla nasties must be approached with caution. If you attempt to button mash, you will fail in Dark Souls 2, and considering how fervently the game tries to make you fail, it really seems to hate failure. The combat has been tweaked in several areas. For a start, the quick kill backstab has been removed, which won't please many fans. You can still execute a powerful attack from the back, but it's harder to pull off and leaves you more vulnerable to reprisals from behind. Dual wielding or ranged combat feel more balanced and efficient now, while magic is less overpowered. Get used to evading, blocking and counterattacking, or you won't last very long. Similarly to Demon's Souls, repeated deaths will see your life bar drained permanently until you use a human effigy to restore your humanity. Reading between the lines, this means it's very possible to reach a point where you're stuck at 50% health. The difference this makes to gameplay is exponential, especially when you consider that you begin with no Estus flasks and must contend with consumable life gems to restore your health. Resource management becomes essential, and you'll find yourself pushing on without healing after a fight just to preserve what little curatives remain to you. Spell uses, should you opt for that path, are similarly finite, and doomed is the spellcaster who finds themselves a long way from the bonfire and out of herbs. This design decision is intentional and ties in with the biggest major change From Software have introduced. Repeated deaths or trips to the bonfire will gradually stop some enemies from respawning. The effect of this is double-edged. On one side, it clears the way for runs back to a tough boss and removes obstacles from your path. On the other side, it severely hamstrings the possibility of grinding levels and farming souls. There is an item that can be burned at a bonfire to reset the spawning cycle, but it will increase the challenge of every returning monster. Essentially, this is like activating a New Game Plus mode mid-playthrough. Enemies will drop more souls, meaning it becomes potentially easier to level up, but they'll be much harder to kill and the effect is irreversible. Another change is that you can now fast travel between any 2 lit bonfires from the off, so returning to previously barred areas when you're strong enough or equipped with the right gear or key is easier. The inherent loneliness of the campaign is offset by the multiplayer element. Taking cues from both previous games, Dark Souls 2's online component is deeper than either. Covenants now link players in a kind of leaderboard system where the turning in of All-Stones earned in PvP grants kudos. There are covenants that encourage the invasion of other worlds, and covenants that have you swear to protect or aid other gamers wherever possible. Repeatedly assaulting other worlds will see you marked as a sinner, and players of certain covenants will be charged with and rewarded for hunting you down. The PvP element is much improved, while the cooperative side remains mostly unchanged. You still leave summon signs so you can be called upon to help other players, whereupon you will share the spoils. And there are times when you will need help. You must be human to summon AI phantoms to aid you, but it seems other players can be summoned no matter your condition, and some of the bosses make teaming up essential. Yes, Dark Souls 2 wants you to fail, and yet its punishing allure is hard to resist for those who crave a challenge. Exploration is encouraged at all times, as is experimentation. Despite the messages left by other players and the ghosts that reveal their grisly ends, the only way to know what lies around the next corner is to go there, shield up and have your senses on high alert. Item use is treated the same way, as some things don't reveal their effects at all. Criticising Dark Souls 2 for being hard is like criticising Need for Speed for asking you to put your foot down, and the design is such that every challenge can be overcome. Every boss can be beaten, every area can be traversed, but some of the changes can make achieving either incredibly taxing. There are times when Dark Souls 2 feels unfair, and there will be moments when you find yourself cursing it for being cheap, but ultimately the balance is close to perfect, and the better you get at reading enemies and controlling your character's movements, the more you'll enjoy the game. A certain amount of Dark Souls 2 is reliant on trial and error. It's simply unavoidable. This is a quest into the unknown, and you won't know how to deal with what comes at you out of the shadows until it's blasting its fetid breath down your neck and sliding its claws right into your soul. But it's intentional. The very premise of the Cursed Undead lends the template not only context, but also a degree of gravitas. Your character is fated to die, again and again, until they either succeed in their quest or go insane trying. A doom shared by every gamer who resolves to tackle From Software's gargantuan RPG. Dark Souls 2 is a true hardcore challenge, and the weak of will and spine have no place in its cruel and unusual world.
Of darkness. Your past, your future, your very light.